Welcome back to the 2018 Golf Industry Show here in a little bit brisk San Antonio first thing this morning. For those of you not able to join us, we went through a few guests already, and we're joined with a collection of folks here to talk about growing the game through the First Tee. Eric Bodecker,
yes,
Executive Director of a First Tee chapter in Kansas. Judson McNeil, President of the Toro Foundation, the philanthropic arm of the Toro Corporation, and Bob Farron, the big shot at Pinehurst, let's call it that, everybody knows, but more importantly for this discussion, on the board of the First Tee of the Sandhills, a 5-county region in North Carolina. So we are going to have a wonderful and far-reaching conversation about this initiative that was started to grow the game from young people and probably people that maybe golf was perceived to be out of reach to. And that's why the philanthropic end of this is so critical. So let's start with that. How did you guys as Toro decide to get involved with this? And how has it been? Let's start with that. How did you decide to get involved?
Toro has a long history with the First Tee. As a matter of fact, the First Tee was founded in 1997, and the Toro Company became the preferred provider of equipment and irrigation for the First Tee in 1998.
Excellent.
So we're happy here in 2018 to have been associated with the First Tee organization for 20 years. And the First Tee, since its founding, has been about engaging young people in golf, but also about using the game of golf to teach life skills and to build character, and that's really important.
Which is what we know the game does, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what sort of allows us to keep up with the pace of this business sometimes, is the love that we have for what we know it instills, especially in young people. And I think that's been the toughest thing for golf, right? But demographically, we're not getting younger as people participating in this. So your activities with the local chapters of the First Tee, how's that going so far? You're the boots on the ground here.
Yeah.
I know Pinehurst is starting a First Tee activity as well, but let's start with how it's going for you right now.
Yeah, it's great. You know, you talked about the First Tee reaching folks that might not otherwise be exposed. Nationally in 2016, the First Tee reached 5.3 million youth. I mean, that's a huge number, and folks that really might not have access or exposure to the game otherwise.
Are we tracking any of the metrics from those original numbers? I mean, when you invest in something for 20 years, right, that means that somebody did it in year 1 and 2. And those people are 18 years older than. Do we have data to suggest that we're starting to get some traction with these initiatives? They do take a long time. How about you, Judson?
Well, they do, and actually the First Tee has employed universities to do research around the impact that they're having on young people and young people staying in the game of golf. As a matter of fact, the National Golf Foundation has just recently published some research around that. And the First Tee in particular has established an alumni group. And so they still are a young organization. I mean, they're only 20 years old, and so young people that started with them at 10, you know, are now just exiting college. And so the establishment of the alumni network is going to be key in terms of tracking some of that information and keeping these young people playing golf every day.
You know, we're talking about growing the game, and you've made a 20-year investment. It would be nice to know that the game is in fact growing, because I think, again, when you look at a lot of the data, Topgolf may be getting more popular, but that's not golf. In my opinion, that's not golf. I like people playing golf on the surfaces that we've sort of enjoyed all these years. So how has that been for you? Have you seen anything locally? I know you were formerly sitting in this chair,
Sure.
now sitting in that chair. Have you seen in your short period somehow this has resonated with the folks?
Well, I'll tell you what, our biggest impact so far has really been in the schools. The First Tee provides what they call the National Schools Program, and it's a platform to actually go into schools, to go into the physical education classes, and really introduce the game in sort of a short course. Yeah, you bring the equipment with you, and certainly anybody out there watching, you know, the school can get involved, just contact your local chapter, but we bring in the equipment, and then we run a 1 week, 2 week program through the physical education classes, and it's not just golf, it's fun and games, it's social interaction, all those things that golf sort of inherently has with it.
And that's critical. And so let's talk about growing grass for these young people, because it's one thing to take it in gym class. It would be a nice thing if there was a field trip. I would pretty much go on a field trip if I got to play number 2 for a couple of days. That's not a bad gig. Is there a school in North Carolina I can do that? So what about growing grass? What about growing grass for these things?
Well, I'd like to comment first on, I believe the growth of golf will be actually a byproduct of growing the people. and the youngsters, because the golf will happen on its own if we instill all the characteristics
Exactly right.
of good citizenship to the youth.
The golf will come naturally.
The golf will come on
because
its own.
it'll appeal to them as a sport where they sort of can express those
Exactly.
positive traits. Not unlike what we're doing, just about to wrap up in another hour, the Turf Bowl here, right?
Right.
On our end, we're trying to encourage the young people, bringing them from the universities to get involved in these sorts of things. And we're doing the GCSAA TV for the people that sort of can't get down here. So it's really good that we do that. We talked about growing the game. I want to talk about growing grass at Pinehurst. What kind of a facility are we talking about? Are you building something?
Well, we're not building something. We just want to make it available and in more of a structured environment with it, along with a lot of other clubs in the community.
Right.
We have a great population of folks that really want to serve as mentors, as leaders and volunteers. And if we sell the idea of not growing the game, of
growing
golf,
the people.
We're growing the people. I think we'll have a lot better mentors available to us that look at that as a situation where I can make this young person better.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
By living as an example to them. But as far as Pinehurst specifically goes, we just this past year opened up the Cradle, a new par 3 course. That's actually was voted on the Golf Channel as being the #1 course new design of the year for a 9-hole par 3 course. So, but we're really incorporating and thinking of the idea of fun. We've always been offering championships at the highest level, championship golf at the highest level. Now we're going to offer fun at the highest level.
That's right.
With the Cradle.
Yeah, and I'm so
and a
pleased
lot
to
of
hear that
engagement,
mentoring comment.
Putting course and a mentoring situation for the adults in our community that really want to be engaged with younger people and
they're
live as
golf
examples.
mad down
And they
there.
love golf.
Love golf.
They love golf.
And the characteristics that they instill, calling penalties on yourself. Obviously there's swing instruction involved, right? You want it. This is not an easy game. It will scare away most, faint-hearted people,
Right.
and it drive you crazy. Even when you watch people at the highest level perform and they look like they can hit. I can hit a shot better than that.
Right.
So it is. You have the swing instruction, you have the character building, and opening it up to create that mentoring relationship. I think we see it again in our industry.
Yep.
How many people have you mentored in your career, right? That have come through Pinehurst, that you see them be successful in other aspects of their life, and you might have talked about growing grass this much and probably managing people and situations that much.
I think that's where most people's success lies, is how you influence those others.
That's
But
right.
as we referred to earlier too, we're old. The First Tee Foundation, First Tee is old enough now, been established long enough now. We have the alumni from First Tee that's able to actually act as a mentor. Mm-hmm. They may not have been exposed to a positive. There's like 1/3 of kids under 18 that don't have any kind of a mentor, a positive
exactly right.
mentor.
So
these kids have learned to be community leaders and lead other people just because of golf and First Tee.
It's really spectacular when you see sort of the commitment to it. And we're here on the turf side, right? We're talking about people and character building, because let's face it, people are growing grass. The robots haven't taken over the golf course entirely yet, although I wouldn't mind they took over a little bit of it personally. But on the turf side, Toro sells turf equipment, right? And obviously growing the game is going to be good for turf equipment. So that connection is really important. But I think it's important for superintendents to get invested in their communities this way.
For sure.
You are on the board of the Sand Hills First Tee Foundation, a new member of the board, a 5-county foundation in North Carolina. That seems like, whoa, you're really going all in on this.
And I'm being exposed to mentors that I can learn from, just in the business leaders that I'll be involved
That's exactly
with.
right. Because this has brought in business leaders from the community.
For sure.
Outside of just...
That are non-golf industry people.
Perfect,
And
okay.
I think that's important.
So what about Toro's investment in this? Obviously, growing the game of golf is good for the business here. We want to be stewards of this land and make sure we're caring for it so the young people can play. How does Toro continue to see this moving in the future?
Well, the first tee, as you referenced, the national school program continues to expand, and I really do see that as the future of the organization and our game. And in particular, you mentioned a field trip. I mean, a lot of the national school programs do involve field trips to the chapter. It's kind of a model of exposing young people to the game and then bringing them on to a first tee chapter where they're exposed to the game of golf, but as well as that important life skills curriculum.
So you're getting it into the schools. You're not waiting for them to come out to the driving range or come out to somewhere else. You're getting it into the schools, bringing the equipment, and this is not inexpensive. It's not inexpensive to run a program like this where you have to employ people to sort of, you know, when you're talking about schools, you're going to need more people to deploy that. How's that worked for you on the ground? You're the executive director. How many people are involved in your particular chapter of First Tee?
Well, we've got dozens of folks involved. We've got direct employees, we've got volunteers, we've got donors. You know, I think, especially for this industry, you know, we're talking about the golf maintenance industry. There's a lot of ways that folks can get involved. You know, certainly we could always use straight donations. Dollars are very helpful, but equipment is helpful. Time is very valuable. You know, just being that mentor and spending the time with the kids, opening up your course to have an event, to serve as a program location, to serve as a field trip where the superintendents can come and do the STEM education. And, you know, we're talking today about growing the future players of the game, but for this industry, you know, there's really the potential to grow the next generation of superintendents and builders and architects. You get folks, you know, that golfing bug who want to stay involved with it as a career.
Right.
The likelihood is they're not going to be a pro,
right.
but there are so many other avenues that golf offers to make a livelihood.
Well, and you think about the GCSAA's new partnership with the First Green organization, you know, where they're trying to get into the schools. That might be a nice natural partnership, because one of the things that all of us that enjoy golf enjoy is being out in the natural world. I mean, couldn't you think of a more beautiful place than the sandhills of North Carolina? It's hard to, I mean, James Taylor wasn't singing songs about it for no reason, right? He sings those songs like, man, I know exactly where I want to be. So as we wrap up for here and I give everybody a chance to make a final comment, let me start with you, Bob. You're looking forward to having them out there. You're going to be out there while they're playing the golf and talking to them about it. I'm sure you're going to stand up and say, welcome to Pinehurst. Be careful and make sure you cut your divots right if you're playing on the tee.
Well, again, the thing we want to impress upon them the most is this is a place to come and have fun.
Exactly.
It's not so structured that you can't have fun and enjoy it. Yeah. We've had several groups out over the years of various school groups out to tour the golf course, and they're always really engaged, and we can always find ways to expose them to more science and technology and math of every aspect of what we do as an industry.
That's right.
And the opportunity is there. We just have to open their minds to it and open our minds to allowing them to come out and have fun. And
so you got fun, you got character building, and you got a wide variety of careers. No wonder Toro's invested in this. What's next?
Well, I would say golf is for everyone.
Yeah.
And the First Tee is a great organization that helps everyone from all walks of life understand golf, get to know the game of golf, and hopefully as years go by, we'll say, I can play golf, and I'm going out and I'm going to do it today.
And thanks to Toro for that continued investment over the years. Toro's always been a leadership organization on these kinds of progressive ideas. And now to you, the man actually working with the young people soon to be like Bob, it's got to feel empowering these days to try to bring and make a positive impact on young people.
It really is. You know, I'm fairly new in my role, but you can already see sort of the impact that programs like the First Tee have by impacting the youth, just by being there and you know, being another positive influence in their life. And I got to tell you, it's so very rewarding, and I would call on everybody in you know, the golf course maintenance profession, get involved. You know, call up your local chapter, go to thefirsttee.org and talk to the national office. You can be involved in as little or as much as you want and is available. You know, but it's something that's great for the industry, but it's great for the heart. I mean, it really makes a difference.
It's very heartwarming to have these conversations. Eric, Judson, Bob, always good to see you. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to Quail Hollow Institute during the 2017 PGA Championship. Thank you for joining me on this segment of GCSAA TV, live at the 2018 Golf Industry Show here in San Antonio, Texas. Quail Hollow's coming up.